अगर let's say कि आज DDLJ वापस बन रही है, what would you add to that character? More dialogues.
More dialogues for sure. Shahrukh used to say that, which Raj came first? I just started seeing Raj and then Dilwale also happened at the same time. So both the Rajas came into my life around the same time.
There were clips when you were actually going to perform the last rites.
Yeah.
There were all kinds of things that were said.
I didn't think about what I was wearing. Pulled out a white t-shirt and jeans. That's how I performed the last rite. Of course, I miss having a person, the person, my person.
You became a cricket presenter and you were entering a male-dominated field.
It still is a boys' club. I did a tournament recently and things had changed, but not completely.
The noodle strap became a thing and suddenly you became a bad girl.
People were guessing, what is she going to wear tomorrow? And they had a Mandira Meter and stuff like that. And really, is this happening? What will people think? Yeah. Be a good girl. What will people think doesn't pay the bills?
This is the Good Girls Show with me, Pari. And kitne adjectives use karu for my guest today? Inspirational, motivating, but overall, the most amazing woman I have seen on screen and probably getting to know her off screen today, Mandira Bedi. Hi.
Pari, wow. I don't know whether I deserve all those kind words, but thank you. Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to getting to know you as well.
Thank you for taking out time and actually being on the show. It means so much. I'm firstly going to begin by asking you, कि आपको किसी ने कभी कहा कि be a good girl while growing up?
Only all the time. Only all the time. You know, my mom, whenever she watches any of my interviews, I mention her a lot. I'll tell you why. And not always the most positive way, because she's always, while I've been growing up, told me, what will people think? Log kya sochenge? Ye mat karo, log kya sochenge? What will people think? You've got to behave yourself. You've got to be a good girl. You've got to be a good girl. You've got to... And because I got so much of that while growing up, as soon as I started, you know, living on my own and earning my own money and living my own life, I stopped caring about what people think. Even though I still get it from my parents, what will people think? So what will people think doesn't pay the bills. What will people think doesn't run your life. You live your life to the best of your ability. You live your life being an authentic, good person. You live your life being true to yourself. That's more important than being a good girl.
Yeah. So I have something very interesting to start with. It's called the Good Girls Report Card. Okay. And बचपन में हम सबको report card मिला है.
मेरे report card में कभी-कभी F भी होते थे, वो लाल रंग के जो letters आते हैं. हाँ. एक दो subjects में.
So कौन से subjects में सबसे ज़्यादा होते थे?
Maths. मुझे maths की कोई समझ नहीं है. और maths और physics, ये दो subjects तो हमेशा वहाँ पे एक red line होता था या वो red letter होता था.
What is this fear for maths? I think it's universal. मुझे याद है.
आपको पता है इसके लिए एक शब्द है. जब मैं छोटी थी तो ऐसे बोलते थे, इसको maths की कोई समझ नहीं है. She's failing maths. She doesn't understand maths.
Yeah.
Now there's a word for it. It's called dyscalculia. Just
what?
FYI, yes.
Dyscalculia.
जैसे dyslexia होता है when it comes to English and you know, words and dyscalculia, वो शब्द है to describe people who don't get maths.
Okay.
Now you know.
So I obviously had dyscalculia. Still have it, by the way. But हमारे school में you know, few girls had made this full form निकाला था maths का. I still remember because we're talking about maths. It was मेरी आत्मा तुम्हें हमेशा सताएगी.
आपको पता है, अगर आज भी मुझे बुरे सपने आते हैं ना, तो वो सपने का क्रक्स क्या है मैं आपको बताऊं, कि मैं एक मैथ्स एग्जाम में हूँ और मैं मैथ्स पेपर के सामने बैठी हूँ और मैं अपने आप से कह रही हूँ, डोंट वरी, इट्स नॉट अबाउट mugging, it's about a method. Now just follow the method. And I've woken up with this cold sweat, पसीने छूट रहे हैं क्योंकि I don't know any method and I can't follow any method because I have dyscalculia. I don't understand that.
Right.
तो वो सपने अभी भी आते हैं, मतलब पिछले हफ्ते भी आया ऐसा सपना.
Yeah, I've had dreams where I'm like, यार paper छूट रहा है, will I be able to complete? You know, that's again been another fear. But this report card is very interesting. You know, it's and I would like to really give this to you. And I want you to like tick mark the words that you think you have been called.
Loud, Later on in life, bold. Ask my children, sometimes I give them sarcasm, so sarcastic. Talkative, this was in my every report card growing up. Talkative. Girl's girl, I am a girl's girl. I value my female friendships, my sisterhood. Dramatic. Sensitive, wo bhi. Bossy.
Yeah.
Don't I look it?
Yeah.
Too much. Oh my God, am I allowed to
Yes,
tick them
please.
all? Because I am a rebel, I am opinionated, and I am brave. I am all of the above. I've been called all of that.
There's one more section, which is a remark that constantly used to be on your report card growing up.
She gets good marks, but distracts all the others in class. And my mom tells me, "What are you doing? That's not right. This should not be on your report card." So a remark that I
you
wish
wished
for
you was.
straight is student, pleasure to have around. I'm writing
How
it because I
sweet.
never got this. A remark I wish for. She's a straight A student and such a pleasure to have around.
How
No
sweet.
teacher said that about me.
Yeah.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
brother was the straight A student. He was a pleasure to have around. I guess I wanted to be like him.
Yeah.
And he was the blue-eyed boy. And I think a lot of what I am today is because I grew up feeling not good enough. Because my brother did everything right. And my parents, at that point, they didn't know. Now we're told not to do it, and it's not a good idea to do, to compare your children. Say, tell your one child that, look how well he or she is doing this, and so should you. But I got a lot of that when I was growing up. And because I was compared so much, and because I was told, why can't you be more like Bhaiya? I grew up feeling, I can't be good enough. And because I can't be good enough, that's why I became this.
Rebel. Yes.
Because I realized I can't be good enough. I can't be like him. There's no point even trying. So
Yeah.
might as well go the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And I did.
There's one more thing that I want to, really talk to you about is your hairstyle. Okay. Growing up, मुझे ऐसा लगता था कि जिन भी लड़कियों के छोटे बाल होते हैं और they're like bold and they're like a baddie. And it's funny because I look back at it and I realize now that I would call this the boy cut.
Yes.
It's funny how we used to call it the boy
Yes, it
cut.
was called the boy cut.
Yeah, but I want to ask you कि आपने कब decide किया to cut your hair and why?
My parents used to say to me, while you're with us and while you're living in our home, you're going to follow our rules, and you're going to have a long hair, and you're going to have a choti, and that's how it's going to be. और शादी करने के बाद मैंने कहा अब मैं फ्री हूँ, अब मैं बाल काट सकती हूँ, पर फिर भी मैंने इतने नहीं काटे. तो I went to have it cut, and the lady who cut it for me, my hair stylist, she said, you are in the entertainment industry, and in this business nobody has short hair. It limits your work. Please don't cut your hair. I'm going to let you think over it. Go home, and if tomorrow morning you come back and say मुझे बाल काटने सारे काट दो, मैं काट दूंगी, but please sleep over it. I slept over it and I came back before the salon opened and said काट दो. And that's how I cut my hair. So then I hosted a lot of stuff. I did cricket, I did many shows I hosted. But when fiction was coming my way, when acting jobs were coming my way, only cops, only gangsters. There was a time I was doing a cop role, a gangster's role, a gangster's wife, and a cop's wife. I'm like, come on, somebody get me out of this.
Yeah.
Because that's all that was coming my way.
Right.
Because short hair meant a certain thing.
Correct. And the only reason why we're talking about this is that it's just that how, a character is judged by how you look also. Right?
Yes. You can be many things at the same time. You can be brave, you can be bold, you can be vulnerable, you can be strong, you can be gentle, you can be everything together. So I don't think a hairstyle should define anyone.
Absolutely. How was your relationship with your mother जब आप छोटे थे, as a little girl? How was it like?
Look, my parents were strict.
Hmm.
Okay. And honestly, when I said, what will people say? What will people say? They used to say that a lot to me. So
Hmm.
that is something I did resent. And I resented the fact that I had a slightly different upbringing from others. But here's the thing. I look back at my growing years and I say that the discipline and the way they brought me up, the upbringing, it's holding me in good stead. I am a good person. I value people. I value and respect people. I respect people's time. I'm, I'm brought up well. So I'm very grateful for that upbringing as well. So I'm very close to my parents. I'm close to my mom. But there's still certain things that she still tells me what to do. And she still tells me what will people think. And she still tells me, and I realize this, as my kids are growing up, that I'm also going to keep telling them what to do, even when they're like adults. And so a lot changes when you become a parent. You suddenly realize what they were thinking.
Right.
And now there are so many books on parenting. There's so much information out there. There's so much you should do this and shouldn't do this, and they didn't have all of that. So they were doing the best they can.
Like, so bachpan mein, like growing up as a girl, like things like night outs, sleepovers, ये सब allowed था.
So sleepovers, there were two friends I could go, whose houses I could go to for sleepovers. Two. My best friend from school and my best friend from home.
Okay.
That's about it. But nights out,
No.
it was a constant battle. And my deadline was 10:30. Who has a deadline of 10:30? Just tell me that. None of my friends did. They had no deadlines. And here I was with a 10:30 deadline. And mom, if you're watching this, when I'd go and do a sleepover, I'd come home at 1 o'clock.
But were these same rules applicable for your brother as well? मतलब उनको भी allowed नहीं था? He was allowed to.
He was allowed. But you're a girl. You're a girl. Girls don't. And then my mom would like, you know what, when we were small, I'm like, no, that does not apply. That does not apply today. You can't say when you were small, you were not allowed to go out. Full stop. So you can't, no, we were allowed to go, but with someone and I said, but times have changed. And if you don't move with the times, and with my son and daughter, I cannot say when I was little. Yeah. Because it does not apply.
Correct.
It's a different world we're living in. It's a different world that I was raised in. It's a different world that I'm raising my children.
But fathers and daughters, ये एक बहुत अलग and special bond and relationship होता है. How is it like with you and your father?
So, my father, to give you context, he's somebody who's lived life completely by the book. I haven't seen a more proper man in my life, and nor will I ever. So he's probably never told a lie in his life. He will never do one thing wrong. He will never say one thing wrong. So he's a wonderful role model, and my mom will do whatever it takes. So between my father and my mom, I had two different kinds of role models. But he's lived life by the book, and I really admire and respect him for that. And he hasn't changed since. And he's just softened a little bit as time has gone by. But I love and respect him dearly. We are not from a family of people in entertainment. My grandfather used to be a poet, and he's produced a couple of movies, but girls don't get into entertainment. But I will give my parents this, okay? The rules as far as nights out were concerned were like, But otherwise, in terms of what I wanted to do, or in terms of, my profession, career, whatever, they gave me an equal opportunity.
अगर let's say कि आज DDLJ वापस बन रही है, what would you give to that character? What would you add to that character today?
Well, her name was Preeti, and Preeti realized it's pointless waiting for any man. She probably would have got a fantastic job and would have adopted a little girl. She would have had a relationship here or there. And yeah, I mean, that's how I see her. What would I add to the character now?
More dialogues.
More dialogues for sure. But yeah, she wouldn't be one simpering little girl holding a tray waiting around for a man. That's for sure. Times change.
It's amazing if you look at. I don't know आपने ये कभी correlation किया है कि नहीं, but there was Raj and then there was the Raj in your life.
That's right. That's right. Shah Rukh used to say that because Shah Rukh knew Raj, and he says he said which Raj came first because I just started seeing Raj, I think, when Shanti had started, and then Dilwale also happened at the same time. So both the Rajas came into my life around the same time. But yeah, I met Raj when I just started working. He had a lot of great energy, and I liked him immediately. Then he came down, met my parents, and we got married a few years later. We got married in 1999 on February 14th. So this February 14th that just gone by would have been our 26th anniversary.
Yeah. What is the craziest thing you've done in love? Or the most romantic gesture that you've done?
I guess he was the romantic more
Okay.
than me.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he used to just I'd be at a shoot and he'd send flowers to me for no reason and would have a note saying, just thinking of you or something like that. So he was very romantic. I don't think I was as romantic as he was. And you know, when we just met, I must tell you this very sweet thing he did. We just met and he was scheduled to go for a chutti with to Goa with his family, and just so that it wasn't out of sight, out of mind, he sent me flowers every day that he was gone, just to keep him top of mind.
मुझे भूल मत जाना.
So he was very romantic. He'd write poetry for me, and he'd you know he'd always have a romantic gesture around the corner for me. I was not that romantic.
There's something that I've always wanted to ask you, and because this had really bothered me personally as a girl, as a woman. I remember that when you actually lost him, and that day, मुझे याद है, news channels were obviously covering it and talking about it, but there were clips when you were actually going to perform the last rites.
Yeah.
There were all kinds of things that were said.
Yes.
लोगों
Do
ने
I
कहा
care
था,
what people think? I don't. So I don't know what was said, but I will tell you this: I don't know what was said, and I don't care. For me, my son was 9 years old, and I did not want to expose him to doing the last rites. For me, there was nobody else I thought was equipped to handle it but me.
Yeah.
So that's it. And I'm not a white salwar kameez wearing person. So what I wear is what I wear, and I didn't think about what I was wearing. I pulled out a white t-shirt and jeans, and that's how I did perform the last rites. What people said, I don't know, and I really don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if people have an opinion about how I'm spending my moments of grief or what I'm doing in my moments of grief when I've had such a profound loss, if people have comments on that, then they can keep it to themselves. I'm really not. I didn't look at anything.
Yeah.
I didn't care, and I didn't look at anything, and it didn't bother me because I had many other things to think about.
Of course. And it really, it bothered me in the sense that, yaar, what are you calling out a woman for grieving, really? And the fact that औरतें थोड़ी ना करती हैं ये चीजें. You know, the fact that this deep-rooted patriarchy जो थी, and you probably didn't even do it कि मुझे challenge करना है इस patriarchy को, right? You didn't even think of it.
It all happened very suddenly, and it had to happen at the time it had to happen. It was in the middle of the pandemic, and what was I waiting for? I told you I didn't want my children to be exposed to it. Tara was 4.5 years old, and he passed away within 9 months of her being in our family. But Veer was very, very close to him, and he still talks about him, and we've done therapy, and he's done therapy, and there are times where he just says, I'm really, really thinking of Dad right now. I'm missing him. And we deal with it, and we talk about it, and I don't shut anything down, because I don't believe that boys shouldn't cry, and a lot of men have a lot of issues because they don't know how to cry, or they're told boys don't cry. We have these stereotypes: girls don't behave a certain way, and boys, they don't cry. I've had, every time Veer has felt like crying, I say cry, because you'll feel better once you get it out of your system.
Yeah.
So, and with grief, the only way to get to the other side of it is through. There are no shortcuts.
Yeah.
Of course, I miss having um, a person, the person, my person, a companion to talk to, and call or message when something good, bad, or ugly happens. So yeah, there's a void there, but I have a lot of wonderful, very, very close friends.
Right. But motherhood, मुझे ऐसा लगता है, like overall also, even if people have partners, don't have partners, motherhood मुझे ऐसा लगता है gets lonely sometimes. Do you feel that too?
Of course. And when you have a partner, it's a little bit easier. But otherwise, being a single mother is though another cup of tea altogether. Somebody asked me at an event I was speaking at, saying, how do you be the father and the mother, and how do you give the masculine part of parenthood? And I said, you know what, I can't give the masculine part of parenthood. I can be a mother and I can be a father to the best of my ability. I can be whatever I can be, but I can't be a man for somebody. I'm grateful that I have a huge support system, and I have a lot of, Raj's closest friends, 3 of his closest friends still are very present in Veer's life. So whenever there's something that they want to, that Veer wants to speak to them about, I mean, they're a phone call away. So there's that, but there are things, I don't think there's nothing that there's anything that I can't do. So be it sex ed, I've had all those very hard talks with him. He talks to me about everything, and I've not fluffed over anything. I've not glossed over anything. I tell it like it is. And I mean, I can't be a masculine version of myself, but I'm trying to be a parent to the best of my ability. That's what I'm doing.
Thank you for mentioning sex ed, because मैं चाहती थी इसके बारे में बात करना, because as girls also there's so much shame ना.
I never had a sex education talk with my parents.
Never?
No. And the sex education that happened in school was like virtually non-existent. So where do you get it from? You get it from your peers. We didn't even have the internet back then. So you just learn like this, which is not the right way to learn. And I wish I'd had a conversation with somebody, who was guiding me correctly. The best thing to do is tell it like it is. And if you tell it like it is, then there's no, it's not shrouded in anything.
Your daughter Tara, how are you raising her, and what is it that you are teaching her about being a girl जो आपको लगता है you missed out on?
Well, I never say what will people think. I hate that term. Okay. So I don't say that. I make her believe she can do anything. I'm trying to instill good values in her. So I'm trying to instill values. Right now, it's not about being a girl or a boy, because she's allowed to do
whatever she wants.
Yes. I mean, when she becomes 13, we'll have to see how how the language will change. But as of now, what I'm trying to teach her is honesty, and how important trust is. And you want people to believe you and consider you an honest person, and as someone they can trust. And trust, once broken, is very hard to regain. So these are the values I'm trying to bring her up with. There's not a day that goes by when I'm not grateful for the fact that I have got to have a journey like this, that I get to have a journey like this, to be an adoptive parent and a biological parent.
Yes. I cannot not talk to you about cricket. because
Okay, talk to me about
आपने-
cricket then.
yes, we
Yes.
have to because I think you paved the way for so many girls, so many women. लेकिन मुझे आपसे specifically पूछना because I have heard you talking about it कि कैसे जब आपने you became a cricket presenter and you were entering a male dominated field.
It still is a boys' club.
It still is a
Yeah.
boys club.
I mean, stuff has changed, but not a lot.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I've heard you say that there were times जब आपको कुछ बोलना होता था, you would ask them questions and they would not even look at you, stare in the camera and answer whatever they wanted to. I want to know, what did you learn about power dynamics उस experience से?
I felt
Mm.
dismissed and I felt disrespected. I felt powerless and I felt, I don't know what I'm doing here. And I questioned myself and belittled myself, saying, must be me. And then somewhere along the way, when I realized that there's no pressure on me and I just need to ask, nothing's off the table and I need to ask what I want to ask. Whatever question is in my head could be a question in somebody else's head. So nothing is off the table. And if someone disrespects me, I will repeat that question till they give me an answer. And so everything changed. The dynamics changed. And literally from 1 week of being in absolute hell, when I realized that, you know what, it's live and I'm sitting in the presenter's chair and I'm the one who's supposed to ask the questions, I'm going to ask them.
Mm.
And when you say it was a boys' club, it still is a boys' club. It still is. I did a tournament recently and things had changed, but not completely, So it's still, the commentators like to be, and anyone who's on the outside, whether or not she has any knowledge of the game or not, they'll be meted out a certain treatment. You have to be able to hold your own. You have to be able to believe in yourself and, keep it going.
Right.
Yeah.
And you said it's a boys club despite the fact that we have women's cricket today.
Yes, we do. We have women's cricket. There's the WPL and it's amazing. Things have come a very long way, but there's still a long way to go.
Asking for money. Have you always been able to ask for the money you think you deserve?
I think I sold myself short and then I met my lovely manager who believes in me and she's somewhere in your line of your eye line right now. But I think I sold myself short because I didn't know what I was worth. And I think she showed me that and now I know what I'm worth. And I believe in myself. And I also have her talking for me. So it's good. So even if I don't believe in myself, she believes in me, and that's great.
Yeah. Two last things. I remember जब आपका वो the noodle strap became a thing, and suddenly
now I'm without a strap.
Yeah, and suddenly you became like a bad girl.
Yes.
Did you even reflect on that ever?
No, I didn't reflect on it. I didn't think about it. I was like, something. Even the thought that went into making our wardrobe was literally this. We'll wear some Western clothes for all the matches. And I was like, idea. Suppose for all the Indian matches, I wear a sari, just, to show my subtle support to India. And the people from the channel said, oh, great idea. Nice. And the stylist couldn't come up with a lot of saris. So I carried my own. And what blouses did I have? These noodle strap blouses. So it was simply that. It was not like somebody thought of a plan.
Statement create karna,
And then somewhere along the way, this lovely designer who I love and respect sent me a suitcase of sarees saying, here's some more. So that's how it happened. It was not planned. It was not thought of. And and then people were guessing, what is she going to wear tomorrow? And what they had a Mandira Meter and stuff like that. And I was like, really, is this happening? And when we've not even given more than a 5-minute, we've not had more than a 5-minute conversation about clothes.
You said that the press had a rating meter for you. I think it continues.
Yes.
I feel the internet is very, very unkind to women, where there are threats, abuses, whatnot.
I think it's because of the anonymity. All right. No one will come to your face and say it to your face, will they? So it really genuinely doesn't bother me. It did to begin with, and it used to upset me. Even one negative. Why would anybody?
But आपको unkind comments मिलते थे?
मिलते थे. Oh, I'm ugly. I'm old. I'm fat. I'm you name it. People, it doesn't take much to write you're ugly or go back to whatever or Auntie G. I know, listen, and it does not bother me. If there's anybody who has anything nasty to say or any unkind words, I walk away. I don't even look in that direction. So that's how to deal with it.
Let's end on a kind note,
Okay.
because that is how we always,
Yes.
leave, and that is how we always want to be. This is a segment called Kind Shoutouts.
Oh,
Okay, so I'm going to, tell you a few categories, and आपके दिमाग में जो भी पहली girl या woman का नाम आ रहा है.
Oh,
So
so
this
nice.
is kind shoutouts for the
Okay.
women in your life.
okay.
Okay. All right. First one. A woman you think is a girl's girl.
My friend Moni.
Okay.
She's a girl's girl.
A woman who gives you the best advice.
I go by my gut a lot, but when it comes to work, Vasudha, my manager, gives me the best advice.
Yeah. She's standing there smiling. A woman whose confidence inspires you.
Oh, me.
Yeah,
I'm
why
so
not?
confident. I walk into a room and people can't, they'll never feel, even if I'm nervous or not feeling my 100%. Yes, me.
A woman who with an incredible fashion sense.
Incredible fashions. I think Deepika has a wonderful sense of fashion. Yes.
A woman who has always given you the best relationship advice.
A friend of mine calls Zahabia Zabs. So she gives me fashion advice and relationship advice.
Okay. A woman who clicks the best pictures of you.
Oh, Vasudha. For sure.
And last.
She has more pictures of me on her phone than she has of herself and her, husband.
Yeah. And lastly, a woman who picks you up on a low day.
Well, I think we shouldn't depend on anyone else to pick ourselves up on a low day. I turn to me. I think happiness is not an outside job; it's an inside job.
I'll finally end now. We started with, you and your memories of being a little girl. I will request you to take few seconds and go back and think of the little Mandira. And अगर आप आज उससे वापस मिलो, तो आप उसको क्या कहोगे?
I would say to her, don't change anything. You had to go through this journey and you had to feel what you had to feel and you had to go through whatever you had to go through to get to where you are. So the lack of belief I had in myself in my younger days, the insecurities, the heartbreak, the ups, the downs, all of it have gone into making me who I am today. And I wouldn't have it any other way. So the mantra I follow right now is this too shall pass. The good times are also passing. The bad times are also passing. So I would just tell her that don't get too caught up with the good or the bad times. Just know that this too shall pass. Enjoy the journey.
Yeah, I have these flowers for you because I think women should give women flowers.
I think women should give women flowers. Thank you so much.
Right?
I'm so grateful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have you
Thanks so
ever
much.
gifted yourself flowers?
All the time.
है ना?
All the time. I buy
Yeah.
myself flowers all the time. I'm not waiting for any man to give me flowers. I go to the florist and say, what do I deserve today? Thank
But
you
I
so
hope you
much.
love these flowers.
I do love orchids. Raj used to give me lots of orchids. Thank you.
Oh, that's
Thank
so
you so
sweet.
much.